Hey everybody, this is Shannon. This is my very first YouTube video, so I'm pretty excited about it. Although I've got to be honest, I'm not too excited about the content. Where do I even start? There's so much racing through my head right now, but I guess I'll start by talking a little bit about myself. Like I said, my name is Shannon. I'm such a nerd. And I'm pretty private about my spiritual beliefs. But I definitely have an opinion. And I guess I feel lucky and I feel excited to share my opinion. Spiritually, my background is, I guess I would consider myself a Christian, although I grew up in a Catholic church. I don't consider myself really religious, but I do consider myself spiritual. Don't get me wrong, I love God. He's my number one, and I definitely have come to develop my own relationship with him, and I'm more than honored to have the connection I do with him and his team of people, I guess, in the heavens. That may sound a little crazy, but I'll explain later. So I said all of that to say, I'm not some Jesus freak trying to scare you into believing. I really just want to bring the information I learned forward so that you're able to make an informed decision and have your own opinion about it. Because if it hasn't been brought up around you yet, I bet it's going to be a topic of conversation at some point in the next year at least. So pretty much, I just put... sorry. Oh my god, do you see Cupcake and Minnie? Okay, obvious. I've been trying to film this for days, I have to be honest. Something always came up, and I actually... you guys, I actually had a really big pimple the other day, and I was going to, because of that, not make my video, but whatever. There's always something that gets in the way when you're trying to do something good, or whatever the saying is. So anyway, I got so much information together, and I want to share it with you. So here I go. Different people, civilizations, prophets, and oracles from different places on the globe, hundreds and thousands of years apart, have all come to one basic consensus, which is that something big is going to happen in 2012. So big, it's going to shake up the world and ultimately leave behind a world that's very, very different than today. Some big catastrophe is going to happen that will reshape the continents and alter the human rhythm of how the world works and redefine what life is for us humans. When I began my research, I was green. I really had no idea of what information that was really out there on the subject. But the more and more I read and learned about what was being said, the more I wanted to share. In the beginning, I thought it was just the Mayans, the Bible, and Nostradamus, giving us all these details of what they thought the end of times was going to look like. It was only when I read and researched that I was way overwhelmed. Even thinking about it now, I'm so overwhelmed with all of this, and there has to be some good in this. And I really feel like with all of this information, in a way, it's almost like having a terminal disease where your doctor says you have, 6 months to live. How do you live each day? And what is that? How, just the thought of it is just really mind-blowing. But it's quite alarming to see all of the different sources saying such similar things. From the Bible, the Mayans, the Indian Hopi, the Romans, the Chinese, the English, Nostradamus, math and science, and technology. They're all saying the same thing for the most part. All right, so sit back and relax because it's going to be a little while probably. Lots of info. Get your tea ready. I got mine. All right, so the ancient Mayans of Central America, they were known as the masters of time, and actually they were quite obsessed with keeping time. Some of their past predictions, their calendar, that's one of their creations. Their calendar was so precise, they were able to predict lunar eclipses that happened thousands of years later. That's one of the main predictions that they made. In the future for us, though, according to the Mayan long calendar, at exactly 11:11 a.m. on December 21st, 2012, will mark the end of a 5,125-year great cycle. This will also be the end of a 26,000-year equinox cycle. Not saying that the world is going to end, per se, but it will be the beginning of a new cycle that will complete this world age cycle. It will be the end of the world as we know it. Meaning, our life will never be the same. The world is not going to look the same. Things aren't going to work the same. A whole paradigm shift is going to happen. They say a higher force is going to try and start things anew on Earth that will bring new value to Earth, where we will honor the spirit of interdependence or helping each other out. No more power by materialism and technology. I think really that's God's perspective, maybe, is that he's not too happy with the fact that we've moved so far away from him as our center. We've become so reliant on technology, and, you know, I'm guilty of this materialism, you know, kind of guiding your life, and it really shouldn't at all. So also the Hopi Indians, they were known as the masters of space. They're the oldest tribe in the U.S. from the Southwest, and they began passing these prophecies down in the early 1940s. Some of their previous predictions are pretty mind-blowing. They said, men with white skin will come and take the land. Land will be crossed by snakes of iron. That sounds to me like trains, maybe. Spinning wheels filled with voices. Cars? Maybe. The world will be crisscrossed by a device they call a spider web. The World Wide Web? I don't know. It's kind of weird. They also predicted 4 different creations and ends of the earth. 3 of which have happened already. The first by fire, second by ice, third by great floods, and the fourth, they predict that one of the largest earthquakes is going to happen, and that's one of the, I guess that's what the beginning of this whole lot of stuff that's going to happen. They also predicted the largest earthquake on record, which is the 9.5 earthquake in Chile in May of 1960. They say also that a dwelling place in the heavens will come crashing down to earth, and a blue star will appear to signal purification, this whole purification process. Great shakes at all corners of the globe. The seas will rise, the seas will turn black, and all of the living creatures will die. Not really optimistic at all, huh? Kind of freaks me out. And see, sorry. And see, each of these on their own would just be another history lesson or, you know, piece of the past. But personally, with all of this compiled together, it's a little bit alarming. We've also got the temples of ancient Rome. In the 6th century BC, one of the most important oracles of the ancient world was this woman known as the Sibyl. Her prophecy stated that the world would last 9 cycles of 800 years each, and the 10th generation would begin in 2000 AD. Year 2000. which would be the last. Some of her past predictions include the invasion and defeat of Italy by Hannibal, 700 years before it happened. Also, the rise of Constantine by name, 800 years before he was even born. She also stated that a child would be born to initiate the Golden Age, 20 years before the birth of Jesus. It's pretty cool. For our future, this is what she says. She says, "Earth shaken by a great earthquake that throws many cities into the sea. There shall be war, fires flashing forth from the heavens, and cities will burn, black ashes will fall from the great sky." We've got the Chinese Book of Changes, which is called the I Ching. 2800 BC, a century before the pyramids were even built, this book was used for the telling of the future. And people really relied on this. There's really great details within all of these stories, so I really recommend going, and if this piques your interest at all on the topic, I would really recommend going and doing your own research and finding out, because the details of these different cultures and kind of how they work, it's really quite interesting. This was a really big history lesson for me as well, aside from this whole catastrophe thing. But the book is actually called The Book of Changes 2012 because that's when it ends. We've got the Indian shaman known as Black Elk. He predicted the demise of his own people and that of people of a different time in the future. Oh, I'm a mess. Yes, I wrote everything out because I wanted it to be right. I didn't want to give wrong information, and there's no way that I could have remembered this on my own. Well, maybe if I had some time, but it's like remembering lines. Okay. So we've got the Indian shaman known as the Black Elk. He predicted the demise of his own people and that of a future people as well. He would have prophetic dreams and recalled, "All over the universe, I can hear the winds of war like wild beasts fighting. It was dark and terrible about me, like rapid gunfire and whirling smoke, like women and children wailing and screaming all over the world." I don't like how that sounds. We've also got the prophecies of Merlin. The character from Legends of King Arthur was derived from a real Merlin. Merlin was actually a title of a man who was half man, half evil, who lived in the woods. Half devil, half bad. Half good, half bad. Who lived in the woods. There has been a few of these Merlins, but the specific one predicted There's been a few different Merlins. This one predicted, he was an ancient oracle. In 1135 AD, he predicted 1,000 years before America was founded. He predicted that the first colony, he actually predicted the first colony by name. He mentioned something about virgin lands being conquered by virgin soldiers or something. Virginia was the first state. It's pretty crazy. Thousands of years prior. How would he know? How would he know? This is just out of control. See, all these things on their own, just another story. But all of these things, I'm not even halfway through. Okay, Virginia. Crazy. British victory over Napoleon over Waterloo. He also predicted the Holocaust. This man is saying, he made these few statements. Let's see if they sound a little bit familiar to our life. Man standing on the shore of England, speak instantly to a man